This is a question that has been floating around in my head for a while. Is school becoming obsolete? Now, don't get me wrong, the concept of educating people will never, ever, ever, ever die, more than likely. But I'm talking about actually going to a place, sitting down at a desk, shutting up for a few hours, and listen to someone lecture you about something, English, math, whatever. Just shutting up and listening to a person speak to like 30 kids. That, I think, is starting to become a little obsolete. I find myself learning more on the internet in 30 seconds than I do in, 7 hours school day, 8 hours, whatever. I don't feel like bothering how many hours I am at school, but I know that I learn a lot more on the internet than at school, because if I have a certain question or something that I'm just wondering about, I search it up on Google and boom, I find the answer. Sometimes when I have that same question to a teacher, they'll be a little unsure and be like, "Yeah, I'll get back to you on that." And I go home and I search it up on Google. I get that answer within not even a second actually. I can't really say I learned a whole lot while at school, all the years combined. I pretty much forgotten everything I learned in algebra last year. I forgot pretty much everything I learned in biology, and I don't feel bad. I don't care. Do I really need all that useless information to live? No. It's exactly what I call it, useless information. Here's an example. Here's a project that I'm currently doing in school for my earth science class. Throughout your school, community, and environment, weathering, erosion, and deposition are occurring. In this project, you are going to go out and find them taking place in our surroundings. In order to accomplish this feat, you will need a good eye, a camera, and your knowledge of earth science. You are to take a picture for each component. But here's the thing. To survive, do I need to know what an example of frost action is? Plant root wedging, abrasion, oxidation, distillation? No, I don't. No, I don't. It's all useless to me. I don't care. I really don't have any passion in science whatsoever, or any passion in what we're learning in science, and I have no desire to actually do this project. Of course, if I don't do it, I'll get a failing grade, but you get what I'm saying. If school taught things that were actually necessary in life, then I would say school is necessary for people. But since the rise of technology is happening right now, and now we have pretty much all the information we could dream of at our fingertips, just pull out your phone, search anything you want on Google, and you'll find the answer within a millisecond. Argue with me on this all you want, but just answer this question if you truly do disagree with me. How much of what you learn in school are you actually going to use in your life? And I'm not talking about the basic stuff like multiplication, addition, subtraction, division, or learning how to read, and basic things like that. I'm talking about this kind of stuff you learn in middle school and high school. All that useless junk. How much of that stuff are you going to actually use in your life? I'm going to assume a grand total of none of that. In my opinion, I think every subject in school is unnecessary for me. I really don't care. Even my best subject, history. I have a 96 average in history. Even I don't even like history. You want to know why? Well, one, it's boring as hell, but also, we learn about stuff like World War II, the Nazis, or Stalin and stuff like that. Okay, I get it. Hitler was bad. Stalin was bad. We have a really messed up history, alright? You know what, how about let's actually talk about what's going on in the world right now, instead of focusing on stuff that happened, decades ago, that is pretty much irrelevant now in today's history. Let's learn about all the stuff going on now, because as I speak, there is a whole bunch of stuff going on in the world that is pretty much making history. Like, for example, Trump was elected. The first president that didn't have anything to do with politics before becoming president. Isn't that kind of something big? And not just that, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in the world right now, and nothing. We don't talk about nothing. We don't learn about any of that in school. We just learn about stuff that happened almost 100 years ago. And instead of learning about all this irrelevant stuff, how about let's learn about how to handle money, insurance, how to get a job, the law, actual important stuff in our lives, and we don't learn about any of that. We learn about all this stuff that we don't really need to know, like the stuff we learn in algebra, geometry, science, stuff like that. Stuff we don't need to know in our lives, at least most of our lives, unless whatever job you're looking for involves stuff like that. Then okay, yeah, it's necessary for you, but for like 95% of other people on this planet, we don't care. Like we don't need this stuff in our lives. The stuff I did list, however, are actually important and stuff that people should learn. And again, nowhere to be found at school. I mean, isn't the purpose behind school, to prepare people for life, after they graduate school or college if the person decides to go to college? Isn't it to prepare them for the life they're going to lead after school, after they're finished? There actually is a class that does teach all that in my school, I heard. But you want to know who it's for? Special ed kids only. Why? Like, that's actual important stuff in your life, and you're just going to teach it to the special ed kids? I mean, alright. I mean, yeah, the special ed kids do need to deserve to know what they're going to do after they graduate, if some of them are actually going to do anything with their lives after that. Jesus Christ, you should see some of the kids in my school special ed class. I sound like a real asshole after that, but shouldn't all students be able to have that class? Because I have a friend who was thrown in special ed because he misbehaved a lot in freshman year. Anyways, he was thrown in special ed, and he told me about that class, and he said they teach you stuff like how to handle a job interview, how to handle your money, what kind of insurance a certain job has, and important stuff like that. And I'm like, why don't they teach the kids who are in normal classes this? Because this is important stuff, not only to special ed kids. The only reason they get this class is because the special ed kids don't get electives, which, wow, what a slap in the face to the special ed kids. They don't have the privilege to get electives. I mean, the school says to respect the special ed kids and don't pick on them, and of course I agree with that. But, isn't that kind of disrespectful to think they're so retarded that they can't handle an elective? I don't know. Also, here's another thing that pisses me off about school. They don't let you use your phones at all. Well, unless you're at lunch, then they'll let you use your phones. But after that, no phone usage whatsoever. And you might argue phones are distracting. I mean, you might end up going on social media or just doing whatever on your phone because, yes, phones can be a distraction. But they're also a wealth of information. We're way past the days where phones are just used for texting and talking to friends. We're way past those days. Our phones can do pretty much anything. You could find out about anything just using your phone. Again, you have like all the information you can imagine at your fingertips. Instead of shying away and shunning the use of that technology, embrace it. How about, make kids go on certain websites during class using their phones? And by certain websites, I mean educational websites, of course. And, it pretty much has everything that they're learning on that website, and it'll be useful. Or maybe have an activity that involves kids using their phones and stuff like that. Teachers have done that before in my classes. I'm not saying that never happened before, but the teacher usually looks outside to make sure, like, the dean or the principal isn't there because, yeah, phone use is actually against the rules in my school, at least on using it in the classroom. But let the kids take out their phones when the teacher tells them to, of course. I mean, it's a dumbass rule, really. I mean, if the principal or a dean or whatever catches the kid using their phones, and they find out that the teacher said, "Oh, it's okay to use your phones," the teacher can actually get in serious trouble for that. Not losing your job kind of trouble. At least I don't think they don't get in that much trouble, but they do get in trouble nonetheless. Why? Like, I think schools should really start embracing phones and cell phone usage and tablets, whatever. They should start embracing that because learning from phones and learning from the internet is a lot more modern and fun and a more interesting way to learn for a lot of kids because a lot of kids like using their phones. They're pretty much addicted to it. Why not involve something pretty much all teens love using? Why not involve it? Because phones have the power to educate people, and do a lot for people. Like, again, educate them on a lot of things, and a lot more things than school ever does. I don't know, makes perfect sense to me, and I'm sure it makes perfect sense to a lot of you. But, anyways, I know I was all over the place during this video, but well, this video was originally just me talking about how I think school is obsolete, but I guess all of this can tie into how school is obsolete because school doesn't really teach you any relevant information, and you could get all the information you want from the internet now. I mean, you can learn a lot more valuable things just using the internet and going on your phone than for me in school. I mean, really, I've learned more on the internet than on school. I mean, a lot of teachers like to just disparage the internet and discredit it, being like, it's poison to the mind. It's just a distraction when you can learn a whole bunch of things on the internet. You'll probably even learn things that even your teachers don't even know. So, anyways, I think I've proven my point enough about how school is becoming unnecessary and obsolete, pretty much, and stuff I hate about school in general. I don't even know what I'm gonna call this, but maybe because I've been so all over the place in this video. But, anyways, I'm exhausted. What time is it? It's 3 in the morning right now. Yeah, and I'm here yelling into my microphone about school. Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna pass out now. I'm gonna upload this whenever I wake up. I don't know when that'll be. So anyways, that's all I have to say. Bye-bye.